Chapter 46. Azure Lotus Sword Technique, Here I Come. Yue Zhao also vaguely sensed something. He found it hard to believe and instinctively looked toward Lin Ya. Lin Ya spoke, a little dazed.
Your little junior sister has broken through to foundation, establishment stage.
Moreover, judging by her aura, it wasn't the unstable kind. Her foundation was exceptionally solid, and her spiritual presence was very stable. Clearly, she had already fully consolidated her cultivation level.
So fast.
Everyone on Heavenly Sword Peak was dumbfounded. Yue Zhao thought back. How long had it taken him to break through to foundation establishment stage? It seemed like it took him 3 full years. That was already considered pretty good within the sect. Second junior sister and third junior brother had taken about the same amount of time. Their whole line of disciples was known for having good talent. And now, just when they thought they were the best, their master accepted a little junior disciple. And within less than 10 days of joining the sect, she went from an ordinary mortal, directly leaping across an entire major realm into the foundation establishment stage. This kind of feat, aside from the top-tier prodigies of the 4 great holy lands, their little junior sister also achieved it. Inside the bamboo hut, Yunjin contentedly felt the power of the foundation establishment stage. Having traveled across countless worlds, she had once possessed not just foundation establishment power, but even the strength of celestial beings and gods. To her, there was no such thing as advancing too quickly and losing control over her power. The power of foundation establishment was, to her, like a PhD student, suddenly reincarnated to learn basic addition again. It was an absolute piece of cake.
The host has now reached the foundation establishment stage.
The system notification sounded.
Please confirm whether to switch to a new cultivation technique. If switching, the host should learn the new technique as soon as possible. If not, 30 simplification points can be used to upgrade the current technique, xuanjue, to the foundation establishment level.
Yunjin narrowed her eyes, so there were 2 options. She couldn't help but ask.
If I choose to upgrade xuanjue, will its current cultivation method change?
If you choose to upgrade xuanjue, it will retain the original cultivation method. Ingesting food to absorb spiritual power.
Yunjin quickly began to think. The cultivation technique xuanjue was usually only used for testing disciples. Most disciples would choose to switch to another technique after officially joining the sect. And the reason was simple. This technique was too balanced. It absorbed spiritual energy from all 5 elements equally. Except for someone like Yunjin, a useless 5-element root cultivator, most other disciples didn't need all 5 elemental spiritual energies. If they used xuanjue, their cultivation efficiency would suffer. For those with single or dual element roots, it was better to choose a technique that matched their attributes. But for Yunjin, she was a 5-element root cultivator. A technique, like xuanjue, that absorbed all 5 types of spiritual energy indiscriminately was actually perfect for her. On the downside, xuanjue was notoriously inefficient at absorbing spiritual energy, making it hard to progress. But Yunjin had the system. The setting that allowed food to convert into spiritual power completely made up for this weakness. All things considered, this so-called trial technique xuanjue was actually the best choice for her.
Upgrade xuanjue?
Yunjin said without hesitation. The system received the command and began operating on its own. A large book suddenly materialized in front of Yunjin. It slowly spun as endless information flooded into her mind. The information constantly rearranged itself, dispersing and reforming, until it condensed into a palm-sized book. That book turned into a streak of light and entered Yunjin's mind. Yunjin closed her eyes and felt it for a moment, then opened them again. The foundation establishment stage version of xuanjue was complete. And not only that, she noticed. Originally, xuanjue had been a low-tier, Huang-level cultivation technique. After this upgrade, it became a high-tier Huang-level technique. At this rate, once she broke through to the golden core stage, wouldn't it evolve into a xue-level technique? If she continued upgrading it using simplification points, This humble 玄诀 could one day even become a teen-level cultivation technique. A light flickered in Yunjin's eyes. She's starting to look forward to it now. She still had over 200 simplification attempts left. It looked like a lot, but she suspected it would soon be used up. First, there were two types of pills: the Foundation Establishment Pill and the Rejuvenation Pill. Both were grade 2 pills. Whether used personally or sold, they were extremely useful. When she simplified the beating pill before, it took about 10 attempts to get a satisfactory recipe. This time, for both the Foundation Establishment Pill and the Rejuvenation Pill, she used about 50 simplification attempts before she was satisfied with the results. Yunjin figured it was about time to visit the market again, in a few days, and advance to a second-rank alchemist. By then, she would have more goods to trade. With her eldest senior brother's skill, they would definitely earn even more spirit stones. And most importantly, this display of public talent would again earn her some emotional points. Yunjin looked at the little more than 100 simplification points she had left and felt a bit troubled. All the emotion points she worked so hard to accumulate over the past few days might just get wiped out in one day. But there was no helping it. What must be spent, must be spent. Yunjin took a deep breath.
Azure Lotus Sword Technique, simplify.
She had to master the Azure Lotus Sword Technique. Even if it cost all her simplification points, it was worth it. Yunjin tried simplifying it 10 times to start. The effect wasn't obvious, so she kept going. After using 100 simplification attempts, Yunjin paused slightly.
Entry requirement for the Azure Lotus Sword Technique. Master 10 types of sword intent.
There was now only one requirement left. And the method of acquiring sword intent had also been simplified.
Sword intent acquisition method. Master any sword technique to the proficient level to gain its sword intent. The host currently possesses Void-breaking sword intent and Lotus sword intent.
Typically, a sword technique at the first level meant basic mastery, the second level meant proficient mastery. Yunjin's void-breaking sword and Lotus sword techniques were both already at the second level. After simplification, she had directly acquired the sword intent of both. Not just surface-level understanding, but the true essence. Even if it was basic mastery, it still counted. Yunjin's eyes lit up. Sword intent wasn't exclusive to Shay-level sword techniques. Huang-level ones also have it. She happened to have 5 Huang-level sword techniques on hand. If she just watched those senior brothers practice, wouldn't she be able to gain their sword intent easily? That would give her 7 types! Next, she just had to find 3 more Huang-level sword techniques, and quickly train them to the second level. Then she would meet the entry requirement. That shouldn't be too hard for her. A bright smile bloomed on Yunjin's face. Azure Lotus sword technique, here I come. After smiling for a while, Yunjin looked at the system panel and sighed again. Even though she had mentally prepared herself, she now only has a little over 20 simplification attempts left. Her heart ached. So, you see, it's not that she loved showing off. Life forced her to. Time to go, worker girl, worker soul. It's time for her to work for emotion points again. Carrying the mindset of going to work, Yunjin walked out with a bitter face. At the door, several pairs of eyes turned toward her at the same time. Chapter 47. The Yandere appears. Yunjin jumped in surprise.
Master. Senior brother. Senior sister. What's wrong? How come you all have dark circles under your eyes?
Poor things, aren't you cultivators? How are you still getting eye bags? The group quickly circulated their spiritual power, and the black circles vanished in an instant. Lin Ya looked at Yunjin, slightly puzzled. Didn't this little disciple just break through to Foundation Establishment stage? Why did she still look so troubled? Did he make a mistake in his examination? Did she look fine on the surface, but was actually having a serious problem? The more Lin Ya looked, the more nervous he became. Yunjin suddenly sighed again. Lin Ya became even more nervous. He asked cautiously,
Xiaojin, what's wrong? Is there a problem with your cultivation? If something's wrong, just say it. Your master here will definitely help you resolve it.
Yunjin looked at Lin Ya, hesitating to speak. Lin Ya looked at her encouragingly. Since she had entered the sect, this was the first time he had seen Yunjin look like this, His disciple who had always challenged the heavens and earth had finally encountered something troubling. Lin Ya was a bit gratified. He, as her master, could finally be of some use. But he was also worried. Yunjing had always been smooth sailing. If she suddenly ran into a setback, he hoped it wouldn't affect her heart. Under Lin Ya's encouraging gaze, Yunjing opened her mouth with a bit of distress.
Master, I actually don't have any issues with cultivation. I just broke through to foundation establishment stage, and my cultivation is quite stable. What troubles me is something else.
No problem with cultivation. Lin Ya first let out a breath of relief, then quickly asked.
Then what is it? Just say it. With your master here, even the sky falling down can be handled.
Really?
Yunjing's eyes lit up. Lin Ya for the first time felt what it meant to exist as her master and nodded repeatedly. Yunjing quickly asked.
Then master, can you help me think of any other places where I can publicly display my brilliance? Preferably somewhere with lots of people. Then I can?
Before she finished speaking, Lin Ya's expression visibly darkened. Through gritted teeth, he cut her off.
I can't think of any.
Yunjing immediately looked aggrieved. So what if he couldn't think of any? Why so fierce? Wasn't he the one who said he can help her solve her problem? And this was her biggest problem right now. Lin Ya's beard twitched, and then he dragged Yue Zhou over.
As the eldest senior brother, looking after your junior siblings is your duty. I'll leave Xiaojin to you. I still have things to do.
With that, Lin Ya bolted like the wind. Worried about Yunjing. She absolutely didn't need it.
Eldest senior brother?
Yunjing looked at Yue Zhao with a face full of innocence. Yue Zhao sighed in resignation. He was just about to say something when a voice, eerie and indistinct, suddenly rang out.
Yue Zhao, long time no see.
Yue Zhao frowned, his expression shifting slightly. He turned his head and saw a man in red walking slowly toward them. The man's face was strikingly beautiful, and his lips were painted blood red, giving him a sinister kind of beauty. Though the man was speaking to Yue Zhao, his gaze was fixed directly on Yunjing. He looked at Yunjing and revealed a meaningful smile.
Oh my, what a cute little girl.
Yue Zhao expressionlessly stepped in front of Yunjing.
Gu Jinghong, if you want to act like a bitch, go do it in your own home. Here on Heavenly Sword Peak, we don't tolerate your nonsense.
Gu Jinghong gave a subtle expression and raised an eyebrow.
Senior brother, yeah, why so hostile? I came under my master's orders, specifically to deliver a message to this junior sister here. I heard junior sister Yunqin fears neither heaven nor earth, so why is she hiding now, afraid to show herself?
If you have something to say, just say it directly.
Yue Zhao said coldly, blocking Gu Jinghong's gaze.
Eldest senior brother?
Yunjing poked her head out herself, smiling brightly.
I'm so cute and pretty. If senior brother Gu insists on looking, just let him look.
Yunjing stepped out directly, staring straight into Gu Jinghong's eyes, the corners of her lips curling into a smile. Gu Jinghong, she remembered this person very well. In the book, among Ye Danxia's suitors, she had the loyal puppy, the cold beauty, the gentle young master, all kinds of types. Gu Jinghong was Ye Danxia's second senior brother, and was the lunatic. Oh, the book gave him a prettier label, Yandir. In her past life, just because Ye Danxia cried. This Yandir senior brother grabbed her without reason, and tortured her for a full day and night using soul-devouring ants. That pain should logically have been long in the past. But now that they met again, Yunjin suddenly felt that it hadn't been long enough. This time around, this Yandir senior brother of hers ought to taste the suffering she endured in her past life too. Yunjin met Gu Jinghong's gaze without flinching. Gu Jinghong was stunned for a moment. Then, a deranged smile slowly spread across his lips.
You're quite the brave young lady. Did you know? I have a habit of drinking human blood. And my favorite kind is blood from little girls like you.
As he spoke, Gu Jinghong even licked his lips, looking every bit the sickle.
Gu Jinghong, you.
Yue Zhao was fuming. Afraid Yunjin would be scared, he was about to speak out. Yunjin smiled, looking directly at Gu Jinghong.
Do you know your eldest senior brother?
Gu Jinghong narrowed his eyes.
3 months from now he's going to die.
Yunjin said with a smile, slowly placing her hand on her neck.
I'll hold a sword and slice just like that. His head will drop to the ground. And since you love drinking blood so much, I'll catch it in a bowl for you. All of it. Just for you, how about that?
As she spoke, Yunjin suddenly let out a creepy, cackling laugh.
What fun is there in drinking ordinary blood? Drinking blood from your fellow sect members, that's exciting, isn't it, senior brother Gu?
Her expression looked even demented than Gu Jinghong's. Yue Zhao silently stepped aside. How should he put it? He just felt like he really shouldn't get involved in this level of perversion. He's still just a child. As Gu Jinghong listened to Yunjin's laughter echoed in the air, he couldn't laugh at all. He put away his smile, and his expression toward Yunjin turned a bit cold.
Interesting. 3 months from now, once eldest senior brother personally kills you, I will be sure to savor your blood.
Oh,
Yunjin smiled.
I'm just afraid you won't get the chance.
Gu Jinghong stared at Yunjin for a moment, then suddenly laughed.
Junior sister Yin, I didn't come today to argue with you. Master truly did send me with a message.
Yunjin raised an eyebrow.
If you've got something to say, spit it out.
Gu Jinghong's face grew even darker, but he restrained his emotions and said,
The new disciples who entered this time, including you and Densai, came to a total of 15. By Master's order, all disciples are to gather at the plaza at the hour of Chen tomorrow. At that time, Master will issue the identity tokens symbolizing your place in the sect. I hope you'll be there on time.
He deliberately paused, as if hinting that endless malice would be waiting for Yunjin then. Yunjin acted like she didn't notice, merely raising her eyebrows.
Got it.
Inside she was absolutely delighted. Did everyone hear that? All the disciples are gathering at the plaza. All of them. And what does that mean? It means a crowd. And what does a crowd mean? It means lots and lots of emotion points. At that moment, Yunjin thought of Zhao Wuji and nearly cried. What a great person. He had pressured her with spiritual force, boosting her soul realm into the foundation establishment stage. And now, seeing that she was short on emotion points, he was gathering the entire sect to deliver more right to her doorstep. Such kindness. She would definitely repay him well in the future. Chapter 48 The Entrance Ceremony.
You've already delivered the message, so get lost.
Si Wanning said harshly. Gu Jinghong immediately gave a shady smile.
I'm really looking forward to tomorrow.
He gave Yunjin a final meaningful glance, then made a throat-slitting gesture. Yunjin looked back at him, stretched the corners of her eyes and mouth with her hands, and made a big goofy face. Gu Jinghong.
Fuck.
Suddenly, he couldn't laugh anymore. He sneered and turned to leave.
Trying to scare me.
Yunjin shouted behind him.
This young lady specializes in dealing with perverts. If you like blood that much, next time I'll let you see how your own tastes.
Even after Gu Jinghong had gone far, Yunjin continued shouting provocations from behind.
If you've got the guts, come find me next time. If I even frown, then my last name isn't Yun.
This was the first time in Gu Jinghong's life encountering someone so shamelessly defiant. He ground his teeth even harder.
You're leaving just like that? Come on, don't go. Let's chat a bit more.
Yunjin kept yelling. Yue Zhao's expression was complicated.
Little junior sister, he's already gone.
Gu Jinghong had a sinister personality. Most people avoided him whenever possible. Even Yue Zhao didn't like dealing with him. But Yunjin. She was out here taunting him like crazy, as if she was afraid he wouldn't come after her. Based on what Yue Zhao knew of Gu Jinghong, he could only say that this guy's aggro had been firmly locked onto Yunjin. The rest of the disciples in the sect could breathe easy for now.
Take a break, have some water.
Si Wanning handed her a cup. Yunjin took a sip and still wasn't satisfied.
Eldest senior brother, second senior sister. I feel like I didn't perform that well just now. Do you think senior brother Wu won't come looking for me next time?
Yunjin looked a little worried. She still really wanted to play with Gu Jinghong a little more. Yue Zhao twitched the corner of his mouth.
Little junior sister, you really don't need to worry about that.
Yunjin had no idea just how good she was at drawing aggro.
That's good.
Yunjin let out a sigh of relief, and a dangerous smile slowly spread across her face. If Gu Jinghong came to her of his own accord, she wouldn't have to go through the trouble of finding him herself. All those debts from her past life, it's time to settle them properly. Yue Zhao looked at Yunjin's smile and fell silent. For some reason, he wasn't worried about Yunjin at all. In fact, he was kind of worried for Gu Jinghong. After all, Yunjin's mental state seemed even less stable than his. Just as that thought passed through his mind, Yue Zhao quickly shook his head. As an eldest senior brother, How could he think that of his little junior sister? Tomorrow's new disciples' entrance ceremony was bound to be a mess. He needed to remind Yunjin to stay on guard.
Little junior sister
Said,
I suspect Gu Jinghong is going to stir up trouble at tomorrow's ceremony. The whole sect will be present, so I'm not sure what exactly he can pull off. Just be careful. I'll keep a close eye on you the whole time. If anything happens, I'll rush over immediately.
4万年.
I'll be watching too.
Yu Songnian also nodded seriously.
The whole sect will be there, and he still dares to cause trouble.
Yunjin raised her voice.
There's no need to worry too much. It's just a guess.
Yue Zhao was still trying to reassure her, only to hear Yunjin excitedly say,
That's great.
Yue Zhao. Fine, pretend he didn't say anything. He better just stay alert himself. The next morning, Yunjin happily got up early. While Yue Zhao and the others were tense and ready for battle, Yunjin looked more like she was heading off on a picnic. At the central plaza, on the high platform, the sect master and the 10 peak masters had already taken their seats. Below that were the direct disciples of each peak. Most of these direct disciples were out on missions, so not many were present in the sect. That was normal. In Tianxing sect, after the initial chance to exchange for free cultivation techniques, everything else, from manuals to pills and magic tools, had to be earned through sect points. The best way to earn sect points was by completing missions. That's why most of the direct disciples spent more than half the year constantly taking on tasks. Below the direct disciples were the official disciples, under each of the 10 peaks, and the sect master. These disciples received significantly fewer benefits than the core disciples and generally had lower talent. Occasionally, though, one or two would rise through the ranks. Further down the hierarchy were the outer disciples. Outer disciples were at the very bottom of the sect. They were allocated almost no resources, and had numerous chores to do every day. Many of them were treated no better than manual laborers. For them, it was harder to stand out than climbing to the heavens. For these outer disciples, the risk of sect missions was often too high. So most of them would choose to do menial work, to earn the basic resources needed to survive. In Yunjin's batch of new disciples, there were only 2 direct disciples. One was Yunjin, who entered under Heavenly Sword Peak. The other was Ye Danxia, who entered under the sect master. 8 people became official disciples, and were distributed among the various peaks. The remaining 5 were tossed into the outer sect. Thus, at the very moment of initiation, the class hierarchy among the new disciples was already established. Even though everyone knew that Heavenly Sword Peak was about to change peak masters, Yunjin still bore the title of direct disciple. Along with Ye Danxia, she stood at the front. Behind them were the official disciples. And at the back were the outer disciples. The class divide was stark and unmistakable. Once everyone had assembled, Zhao Wuji stood calmly and announced,
This recruitment round has brought in 15 new disciples. Among them, 2 are direct disciples.
He looked at Yunjin and Ye Danxia.
Yunjin, Ye Danxia, step forward.
Ye Danxia's face showed a trace of excitement, as she straightened her posture, and took a step forward. When she saw Yunjin also step forward, her expression subtly changed. Even though she knew, Yunjin would only get to be smug for another 3 months. The fact that Yunjin was currently standing in the same row as her still made her feel uncomfortable. She has the prestigious celestial spiritual root, while Yunjin only has a lowly 5-element root. Did Yunjin deserve to be on the same level as her? But when Ye Danxia recalled the promise her second senior brother made to her, a trace of schadenfreude flickered in her eyes. After Yunjin forced Ye Danxia's eldest senior brother to sign a contract, the sect master felt the whole matter was unseemly, and had him go into closed-door cultivation for the next 3 months. Fortunately, a few days ago, second senior brother returned. This second senior brother was even better looking than the eldest, and he defended her even more openly. This time, even without her saying anything, he had privately learned about Yunjin's actions, and immediately decided to step in on her behalf. Ye Danxia pretended to dissuade him a few times, and of course, she failed. It seemed second senior brother was still determined to make a move today. She subconsciously glanced at Gu Jinghong. Gu Jinghong smiled at her, and Ye Danxia's heart instantly settled. If second senior brother wanted to do something, it was as good as done. This time, Yunjin will be utterly humiliated. Chapter 49. The one with evil intent. Zhao Wuji acted as though he hadn't noticed the subtle glances exchanged between the two disciples. He calmly said,
Presented the robes of the direct disciple.
A disciple stepped forward, holding two robes in hand, and stopped in front of Yunjin and Ye Danxia.
These direct disciple robes are spiritual artifacts. Once you infuse them with spiritual energy, they can be used immediately.
The disciple reminded them. Both Yunjin and Ye Danxia infused their robes with spiritual energy, and in the next instant, the garments automatically dressed themselves onto their bodies. Gu Jinghong stared fixedly, and after confirming that Yunjin had put on the robe, the corners of his lips curled into a sinister smile. Wearing the robe, Yunjin raised an eyebrow slightly. And in that very moment, the system's voice rang out.
Beep beep beep. Harmful substance detected.
Yunjin wasn't surprised at all. She calmly said,
Run a detailed scan.
After deducting one simplification attempt, the scan result was displayed.
Detected substance. Beast luring powder. This drug strongly attracts beasts below foundation, establishment stage. If there are such beasts nearby, there is a high probability they will attack the host.
Yunjin smiled. Still the same old tricks, just like the previous life. That second senior brother of Ye Danxia had some skill with beasts and medicinal substances. In her previous life, Yunjin had suffered quite a bit because of those very skills. But in this life, he won't have his way.
System, extract the beast luring powder.
Yunjin ordered.
Extraction. Requires 5 simplification attempts.
Deduct them.
With the deduction complete, a small bottle silently appeared in Yunjin's storage pouch, containing the extracted beast luring powder. At this moment, the robe distribution to the official and outer disciples had also concluded. Zhao Wuji continued.
Next, we will distribute the disciple identity tokens and a set of basic spiritual tools.
Disciples below began carrying trays forward. Just then, the corners of Gu Jinghong's lips curled again into a sinister smile. It's almost time. As disciples of the sect master, they ought to stand above all. Since Yunjin dared to act so arrogantly, it was only fitting she paid the price. Right? Disciple token. Yunjin was just about to speak, when suddenly a distant low beast roar could be faintly heard.
What's going on? Is it the Spirit Beast Pavilion?
Did something happen to the spirit beasts in the Beast Pavilion?
A buzz of discussion broke out among the crowd.
That shouldn't be. Doesn't the Beast Ring keep them under control?
But that sound doesn't seem right.
Something was already going wrong. Yue Zhao couldn't help but glance nervously toward the Spirit Beast Pavilion. He had a bad feeling that this might be targeted at his little junior sister.
Go check what's happening at the Spirit Beast Pavilion.
Zhao Wuji instructed Gu Jinghong. Gu Jinghong acknowledged the order and left for the Spirit Beast Pavilion. The ceremony was naturally suspended.
Xiaojing, what do you think could be happening?
Ye Danxia blinked, watching Yunjin with a leisurely and composed expression. She knew this incident was aimed at Yunjin, and the unlucky one would definitely be her. At this moment, she couldn't help but start mocking her in advance. Yunjin smiled.
I don't know either. I've never caused trouble in my life. It probably has nothing to do with me.
As she spoke, her fingers moved almost imperceptibly. The beast luring powder immediately scattered onto Ye Danxia. Ye Danxia noticed nothing and continued.
Is that so? I also hope it has nothing to do with any of us.
Gu Jinghong returned shortly, bringing with him an old man who guarded the Spirit Beast Pavilion.
Senior Lin, did something happen at the Spirit Beast Pavilion?
Zhao Wuji asked respectfully. Lin Fei's strength wasn't especially high, he was still stuck at the peak of soul transformation stage. However, he had a unique skill. He could communicate with spirit beasts. As such, the Spirit Beast Pavilion had always been under his care. Especially since only Lin Fei could barely speak with the sect guardian spirit beast at the late fusion stage residing in Tianxing Pavilion. His status was considered quite special. Lin Fei stroked his beard, showing a hint of confusion in his expression.
The ones rioting this time are only beasts at the sea refining stage, and a very small number at the foundation establishment stage. The other beasts haven't shown any signs. I tried communicating with the agitated ones, but they're in a frenzy and currently unresponsive. I'll try again once they calm down to investigate further.
They can't go on like this. Sea refining beasts are too fragile. If something happens, it'll be bad.
顾景洪 said with concern.
Senior Noon, we really must find the cause and resolve this crisis.
费灵飞 looked at 顾景洪 kindly.
Jinghong, do you have any ideas?
顾景洪 was quite gifted in beast taming, and he always showed a well-behaved, obedient side in front of Ling Fei. Ling Fei had always liked him, and even gave him guidance many times. Now, hearing 顾景洪 speak, he was eager to see what this talented disciple could come up with. 顾景洪 looked worried.
Judging by the state of the spirit beasts, it looks like they've been corrupted by evil.
Corrupted. Ling Fei's gaze flickered slightly.
I wonder if anyone here has heard the rumor.
顾景洪 began to speak slowly and confidently.
In this world, some people are born evil. These people carry an innate evil aura, which is very hard for humans to detect. But to spirit beasts with their pure nature, it's extremely obvious. When such a person appears nearby, spirit beasts may become affected and fall into agitation.
景洪, is there truly such a thing?
赵无极 asked sternly.
You're not speaking nonsense.
Ling Fei thought for a moment and said,
What Jinghong said isn't without basis. While rare, such cases have occurred before. Moreover, the higher the cultivation of the one carrying the evil aura, the stronger the spirit beasts they can influence. If the beasts being affected are mostly sea refining stage, with a few at foundation establishment, then the person's cultivation should be in the high sea refining stage. Since most foundation establishment stage beasts are unaffected, the person likely hasn't yet reached foundation establishment.
Such a thing truly exists.
赵无极 was shocked.
If someone like this appeared in my Tianxing sect, wouldn't it be a disaster once they grow stronger? Senior Nin, is there a way to identify this person?
As the situation escalated, Lin Ya's expression began to shift. How could he not see it? This whole affair was clearly aimed at Yunjin. But what exactly had they done to her? Lin Ya couldn't help but spoke.
Spirit beast riots aren't caused by just one thing. What if the beasts ate the wrong food?
看林飞 paused, considering the possibility. But 赵无极 snapped.
Lin Ya, are you saying Senior Lin fed them incorrectly? Ever since Senior Ning took over the Spirit Beast Pavilion, when had such a mistake ever occurred? All food is personally reviewed by him. How could there be a problem with the spirit beasts suddenly rioting? I say, it's definitely caused by someone carrying evil aura.
And verifying it is simple. If there really is such a person, we just need to release the rioting spirit beasts. Whichever disciple they attack first is most likely the one with evil aura.
顾景洪 added immediately.
Utter nonsense.
This is clearly.
Lin Ya tried to object forcefully. He knew they mustn't let the beasts be used this way. Xiaojing definitely wasn't someone with evil aura. But if someone had tampered with her, after this, she could be falsely labeled as evil.
Master,
Yunjin blinked, suddenly putting on a worried face.
I think what Senior Brother Gu said is quite reasonable. I too feel there might be someone evil in our sect.
Chapter 50. Spirit Beast Riot. Yunjin's sudden agreement left Lin Ya momentarily stunned. He had assumed Yunjin didn't understand the stakes, and was just about to speak up. But Zhao Wuji spoke calmly.
Lin Ya, even your own disciple, is wary of this so-called evil aura. Why do you keep objecting so strongly? Though rare, if a person with evil aura does appear, they won't just be a threat to our Tianxing sect. Should they be allowed to cultivate and grow stronger, they would become a disaster for the entire cultivation world. Besides Yunjin, I'm sure others are also uneasy. To eliminate such concerns, this test is absolutely necessary.
What Master says is absolutely right. If there really is someone with evil aura, this is the perfect time to find them. If not, Then everyone can rest easy.
Gu Jinghong added. Lin Ya looked at the other peak masters. Some of them looked like they wanted to speak, but ultimately held their tongues. A few others even showed blatant schadenfreude. Clearly, several people already knew exactly who this setup was targeting. So what if new? Right now, Yunjin still wasn't worth it for them to openly go against. Zhao Wuji Lin Ya's heart sank to the bottom. Worry crept onto the faces of Yue Zhao and the others. Only Yue Zhao, looking at Yunjin's utterly fearless appearance, he had a strange feeling. With their little junior sister's personality, could she really suffer a loss? She had just joined the sect for a few days, and she had already offended the sect master's entire faction. Yet from beginning to end, in every confrontation, she never seemed to lose. This time, could she already be prepared? Yue Zhao couldn't help but glance at Yunjin. Yunjin had a very worried expression.
Senior brother Gu is absolutely right. If that person carrying evil aura is allowed to grow up, they'll definitely become a great demonic villain threatening the entire cultivation world. Someone like that must be found as soon as possible. In my opinion, if such a person really exists in the sect, we can't just banish them lightly. We should flay them alive, strip their bones, toss them into the alchemy furnace and burn them to ashes, then cast those ashes into the abyssal sea. That way their existence won't contaminate this pure world.
Gu Jinghong nearly burst out laughing. He looked at Yunjin with undisguised mockery. Listening to little junior sister complain, he thought Yunjin must have been some dangerous schemer. But as it turned out, she was just a complete fool. Eldest senior brother merely lacked strategy. That's why he lost to this idiot. But now it was his turn. He would make Yunjin understand what it meant to offend the sect master's faction. Gu Jinghong hid the contempt in his eyes and smiled.
Yunjing is right. If we do identify the person with evil aura, we'll deal with them exactly as she said. Throw them into the abyssal sea. Let not even their bones remain.
Yunjin nodded eagerly.
Then let's quickly bring out the spirit beasts to identify the culprit. Just thinking that someone so wicked might be hiding among us makes me terrified.
A barely visible smile curved to Zhao Wuji's lips. He said,
Elder Lin, we'll have to trouble you to bring out a few of the frenzied spirit beasts, so we can see what's going on.
Very well.
Lin Fei replied, turning back to the spirit beast pavilion. Ye Danxia watched Yunjin's frightened expression, and couldn't help lowering her head. She was afraid if she didn't, she might laugh out loud and let Yunjin hear. Ha ha ha. She couldn't wait to see what expression Yunjin would make when the spirit beasts identified her as the one carrying evil aura. It would definitely be priceless. Ye Danxia worked hard to hide the malice tugging at the corners of her mouth. Yunjin. Oh Yunjin. Even if you don't die this time, you'll be skinned alive. All the humiliation I've suffered these past few days, I'll make you repay it all. Very soon, Lin Fei returned, bringing 5 spirit beasts. One was at the foundation establishment stage. The others were all at the qi refining stage. These 5 beasts were unusually agitated, their pupils glowing with a strange red light. They roared and thrashed constantly. If they weren't low in cultivation, and relatively easy to control, even Lin Fei would have had trouble. As Lin Fei led them closer to the plaza, their howls grew louder. Gu Jinghong immediately wore a worried look.
Elder Lin's spirit beasts are usually very docile. It's been years since anything like this happened. If they're acting strangely now, there must be something wrong in this plaza.
Second senior brother, we should let the spirit beasts identify the culprit quickly. This is getting really scary.
Ye Danxia urged. She really couldn't wait any longer.
Exact.
Yunjin chimed in.
Just the thought of such a terrifying person hiding among us makes my heart race. If we don't find them soon, I won't be able to sleep at night.
Zhao Wuji's gaze shifted slightly. He said calmly.
Elder Lin, let's begin. For now, remove the restraints on the spirit beasts, and let's see how they react.
Lin Fei nodded. They were just low-level spirit beasts. Even if control was lost, they could be easily subdued. If it meant identifying the one with evil aura, then it had to be done. Lin Fei was about to release them one by one, but Gu Jinghong quickly interrupted.
Elder, release them all at once. If it's just one spirit beast, the result might not be reliable. But if several spirit beasts all rush at the same person, then we'll know for sure.
Good idea. Let's proceed that way.
Zhao Wuji agreed. Lin Fei thought for a moment, then didn't object. He reached out and calmly patted each spirit beast on the head. Around each spirit beast's neck was a golden collar, beast-taming rings that kept them restrained. At his touch, the rings fell off. The 5 spirit beasts' eyes grew even redder. In that instant, their eyes turned blood red. It was as if something was tormenting them. Their howling grew even more frenzied. The Foundation Establishment stage beast already locked onto the lower-tier disciples in the crowd with a fierce gaze. It could sense the presence of that irritating aura among them. Where? Who? The frenzied spirit beasts were truly terrifying to behold. The CT refining disciples being stared at were visibly afraid. These beasts may have low cultivation, but so did they. If they got caught in the charge, injury would almost be certain. And the idea of an evil person, that sounded terrifying. Even though most of them were confident it wasn't them, they still couldn't help but feel a little guilty. What if it was them? That vague fear grew stronger. Just as tension blanketed the entire square, suddenly, the Foundation Establishment spirit beast seemed to have found its target. It twisted its head sharply, locked eyes on someone, and with a furious roar, charged straight toward them. The several Qi refining spirit beasts also followed closely behind. The plaza instantly fell into chaos. Only Ye Danxia revealed a triumphant smile. The direction in which the spirit beasts charged was exactly where Yunjing was standing. Soon, once Yunjing was identified as the one carrying evil aura, we'll see what else she has to say. As for herself, at that time, she would probably have no choice but to kindly comfort Yunjing a little. Chapter 50 Wang Yin Shubi Yunjing.
Oh no, why are the spirit beasts charging at me?
Yunjing exclaimed in shock. Ye Danxia's smile grew deeper. Very soon, Yunjing will realize something was wrong. But by then, it'll be too late, Yunjing shouted dramatically.
Run.
Then, like a streak of smoke, she bolted away. Ye Danxia's smile deepened even further. What use was running? The spirit beasts had already locked onto her. No matter where she ran, they would chase her relentlessly. That would only further confirm Yunjing as the one carrying evil aura. Ye Danxia adopted a calm, unhurried posture, just waiting to enjoy the show.
Danxia, run!
Yunjing suddenly shouted. Ye Danxia scoffed slightly. They're not charging at her. Why should she run? Absolutely laughable. Those spirit beasts would follow Yunjing anyway. She didn't need to worry at all. But in the next instant, screams erupted all around. Ye Danxia paused in confusion. Her pupils violently contracted. That Foundation Establishment explosive flame tiger was already in front of her. It opened its bloody maw and lunged at her with fury. Ye Danxia was horrified. Impossible. Why were these spirit beasts charging at her? This didn't make sense. She tried to dodge with all her might, but it was too late. The tiger clamped its jaws onto her shoulder. Ye Danxia let out a piercing scream of pain.
Little junior sister?
Gu Jinghong's expression changed dramatically. What was going on? Had the spirit beasts gone insane? Why were they attacking Danxia? Gu Jinghong rushed down to rescue her. But Yue Zhao stepped in to block him directly.
Junior brother Wu, based on what we just saw, this Ye Danxia is likely the one carrying evil aura. This kind of person isn't worth saving, is she?
Gu Jinghong's face turned ashen, and he instinctively looked toward Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji's expression was dark. He didn't know exactly what Gu Jinghong had done, nor had he asked, but this second disciple of his had always succeeded in the past when using such methods. Why did things go wrong this time? Zhao Wuji said coldly.
Save her first. Perhaps something went wrong, and the spirit beasts mistook the wrong person.
Sect Master, you can't say that.
Lin Ya raised his brow and said with a glint in his eye.
Spirit beasts are incredibly perceptive. How could they make a mistake? This Ye Danxia must be the problem. In my opinion, we shouldn't be in such a rush to save her. Let the spirit beasts confirm their target more carefully.
Zhao Wuji wanted to object, but Lin Fei frowned and spoke.
These spirit beasts were raised by me. Even in their frenzied state, they won't kill. At most, this disciple will suffer some injuries. Observing a while longer shouldn't be an issue.
Due to his connection with the late-stage fusion, realm sect guardian beast, Lin Fei held a respected position in the sect, and had no need to fear Zhao Wuji. He had agreed to use the spirit beasts, not to help the sect master's faction, but out of genuine concern about a possible evil aura carrier. Now that results were showing, he naturally wanted to see it through. Ye Danxia had already been knocked to the ground, multiple spirit beasts furiously biting at her. Her screams echoed across the square. Yunjin couldn't help but cover her eyes, then peeked through her fingers. Rampaging spirit beasts are so scary, so scary. She was just a little child. She better not get nightmares from this. Gu Jinghong, still held back by Yue Zhao, grew more and more anxious.
Elder Yu, the idea of an evil aura carrier is just something from ancient texts. It might not even be real. If we wrongly accuse little junior sister, won't she suffer for nothing?
Zhao Wuji looked at Ye Danxia's agonized form and felt pained. The first time he saw Ye Danxia, even before knowing she had a celestial spiritual root, he had already taken a liking to her. After joining the sect, Ye Danxia was always obedient and sweet, calling him master affectionately. Among the 5 male disciples he had accepted before, none were as cute and soft as Ye Danxia. Now, seeing her rolling in agony, Zhao Wuji clenched his teeth, no longer caring about anything else. He suddenly stepped forward and swept his sleeve. The spirit beasts now bore fresh wounds on them. But having lost all sense, they still wouldn't back off.
Master.
Ling Fei's face changed, just about to speak. Zhao Wuji struck again with increased force. The spirit beasts were blown away. The explosive flame tiger was injured the most. It let out a howl and fainted. The rest weren't much better, writhing in pain on the ground. Ling Fei's expression darkened. He hurried over, feeding them medicinal pills and comforting them. But their cries were too pitiful. He had to give them sedatives to make them sleep. Gu Jinghong rushed to pick up Ye Danxia. Her body was covered in bite wounds, bloody and miserable. How could this happen? Gu Jinghong's heart ached so much he wished he could take her place. After summoning a few disciples to take the spirit beasts away, Ling Fei stood up, his face stern. He said coldly,
Sect Master, earlier, I said I would examine the spirit beasts after they calmed down, but you insisted on using them to detect the evil aura carrier. I listened to you, and that's why I removed their restraints. Now that they identified their target, you turned around and lashed out at them. You owe me an explanation for this.
Ling Fei's beard bristled in anger. He had spent his entire life working with spirit beasts. It could be said that to him spirit beasts were more important to him than most humans. This time, the spirit beasts were unjustly harmed, which only made him even more furious. Being scolded like this, with a finger pointed right at his nose, made Zhao Wuji feel rather embarrassed. He couldn't help but say,
Senior Lin, the reason these spirit beasts went berserk is still unclear. I know Danxia, she's kind and filial. There's no way she could be this so-called carrier of evil aura. Besides, she has a celestial spiritual root. If she grows stronger in the future, she could enter one of the 4 holy lands. That would bring great honor to our sect.
The fact that she has a celestial spiritual root only makes it more dangerous.
Lin Ya said coldly.
If someone with a celestial spiritual root really is a carrier of evil aura, wouldn't that just make the disaster she could bring even greater? In my opinion, we should nip such a dangerous person in the bud while we still can.
As Nia said this, several peak masters seemed faintly swayed. If the spirit beasts had targeted Yunjin, they might have believed she was framed. But now, the one the spirit beasts targeted was Ye Danxia. In Tianxing sect, who could possibly tamper with the sect master's own disciple? So, could it be that Ye Danxia really was the carrier of evil aura? If that were the case, this disciple must absolutely not be allowed to remain. Ye Danxia looked at everyone's expressions and began to feel afraid. She tightly clutched Gu Jinghong's sleeve.
Second senior brother, it's not me. I'm not the one with evil aura. The real carrier, it should be Yunjing. It's Yunjing, ah.
Ye Danxia was overwhelmed with fear. She didn't understand why things had turned out like this. Why did those damned spirit beasts attack her? They were supposed to chase Yunjing. The one who should have been bitten and covered in wounds was Yunjing. How could it be her instead? Chapter 52. Which one to choose? In her extreme panic, Ye Danxia blurted out Yunjin's name. Yunjin seemed to look completely confused, immediately putting on a shocked expression.
Densa, what are you saying? How could it possibly be me?
Ye Danxia also realized she had said the wrong thing, and grew even more flustered. Gu Jinghong grabbed her hand and glared coldly at Yunjin.
At the time, you and junior sister were standing together. Did you tamper with something?
Yunjin looked puzzled.
What? A person with evil aura can tamper with things. Is it really that casual?
Gu Jinghong's expression changed slightly. He pressed his lips together, his mind racing. He had clearly tampered with Yunjin's clothing. So why was the one who got attacked became his little junior sister? Could he have messed up the clothes? Gu Jinghong was filled with frustration. How could he make such a rookie mistake? This Yunjin really does seem to have something strange about her. Lin Ya gave a cold snort and said,
We said earlier that if the person with evil aura is found, the light punishment is expulsion, and the severe one is having their tendons ripped out and thrown into the abyss. Now that the person has been identified as Ye Danxia, sect master, what is your decision?
Master?
Ye Danxia's face went pale. She forced herself to get up and desperately kowtowed to Zhao Wuji.
Disciple didn't do it. I'm really not someone with evil aura. This must be some kind of misunderstanding.
She cried out while kowtowing repeatedly. The scene was quite pitiful. Zhao Wuji looked on, unable to bear it. He was just about to speak, when Ling Fei said coldly,
My spirit beasts did not suffer injuries for nothing. Since they identified her, I recommend we detain her first. Once the spirit beasts have calmed down, I will speak with them one by one. If I still can't find another explanation, then I suggest we err on the side of caution. This Ye Dansai must not be spared.
His face was still full of anger. Zhao Wuji frowned, still trying to defend Ye Danxia. But Peak Master Fang Mingyue of Bright Moon Peak suddenly spoke up.
I also believe we must stay vigilant towards someone with evil aura. She has a celestial spiritual root. Her growth would already be incredibly fast. If she wreaks havoc in the future, it'll be our responsibility.
Agreed. Several other Peak Masters echoed. After all, someone carrying evil aura was just too dangerous. Zhao Wuji's face grew darker. He knew in his heart that Ye Danxia was certainly not the person with evil aura. This situation was very likely Gu Jinghong's doing. But if he pointed that out, Gu Jinghong's future would be ruined. If he said nothing, then Ye Danxia would be the one destroyed. Between these two disciples, who should he protect, and who should he give up? Zhao Wuji found himself torn. Just then, Yunjin spoke up.
Actually, I don't think Densai is someone with evil aura at all. She just has some minor flaws, like how she was adopted by the Yun family but doesn't show gratitude. Or how she encouraged senior brother Qin to challenge me, then abandoned him afterward. Or how she hinted to senior brother Rar to frame me. But those are just little flaws. They don't amount to serious evil.
Yunjin claimed she believed Ye Danxia wasn't a person with evil aura, yet proceeded to list out all her misdeeds. Ye Danxia's face grew even paler. She could barely continue kowtowing. She looked at Yunjin with sorrow and anger.
Xiaojing, we're sisters. Why are you doing this to me?
Yunjin looked innocent.
I didn't, Densai. I'm trying to speak up for you. What I mean is, even if you did all those things, at most you're just ungrateful, two-faced, and harbor ill intent. Calling you someone with evil aura is completely wrong.
Yunjin tore her down line by line, all while wearing a righteously sincere expression, as if she was genuinely defending Ye Danxia. Many onlookers couldn't help but chuckle quietly. This Yunjin is quite interesting. Ye Danxia was furious. Trembling, she pointed at Yunjin. And then suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood.
Densai, what's wrong?
Yunjin said with concern.
You must take care of yourself. I'm still doing my best to speak for you. You mustn't give up on yourself.
Ye Danxia coughed up blood even more violently.
Sect Master, since Ye Dansai entered the sect, she caused quite a few disturbances. I believe this matter warrants a thorough investigation.
Another Peak Master spoke up. Previously, when Zhao Wuji was pressuring Yunjin, these Peak Masters didn't publicly intervene, but they had all been watching from the shadows. Even if they didn't dare speak out, Justice was in their hearts. Aside from a few die-hard loyalists of the sect master, most of them had their own thoughts about the situation. Now, with Yun Jin publicly stating that even Ruan Jun's actions were instigated by Ye Danxia, and that the sect master's subsequent response stemmed from this, then wasn't Ye Danxia the root of everything? This woman, could she actually be the one with evil aura? If this was true, they absolutely couldn't allow the sect master to shield her. This was a matter of the sect's survival. Even if the sect master's father from Qingxiao Pavilion were to show up, he wouldn't be able to justify keeping a person with evil aura. Everyone began voicing their opinions. Zhao Wuji's face grew darker and darker by the second. Lin Ya had never seen him so publicly humiliated before, and he couldn't help but spoke.
Sect Master, since this is your disciple, it's up to you to decide on how she should be dealt with. To be safe, I personally recommend crippling her cultivation and placing her in confinement.
Master,
Ye Danxia cried out sorrowfully. Though her cultivation was not very high yet. If her dantian was damaged during the process of crippling her, her entire cultivation path would be ruined. This whole thing was clearly orchestrated by second senior brother. Why was she being made to take the fall? Gu Jinghong looked at Ye Danxia's pitiful state, and clenched his teeth slightly. He was the one who tampered with the clothing. If he is willing to step forward, everything can be explained. But if he did, he would have to bear the crime of framing a fellow sect member. His entire future would be ruined. Gu Jinghong was thrown into intense turmoil. He did like this soft, cute little junior sister, and was willing to stand up for her a little. But to bet his entire future on it, no matter how impulsive he was, he can't go that far. Zhao Wuji looked at Ye Danxia, then at Gu Jinghong, and finally gritted his teeth.
Jinghong, do you have anything to say regarding your junior sister's situation?
Gu Jinghong's heart sank in an instant. The sect master intended for him to confess. Between his little junior sister and him, the sect master had chosen to abandon him. He admitted he was wrong. But he only took action because his little junior sister had constantly cried to him, hinting over and over for him to strike at Yunji.
Senior brother?
Ye Danxia turned her head toward him, eyes full of hope. She had no time to keep up the sweet, innocent little junior sister facade now. Her only thought was to escape this accusation. Gu Jinghong was the only one who could help her clear her name. As for what would become of Gu Jinghong, she neither knew nor cared to find out. It's not like she did anything. Who could have known? Gu Jinghong would do something like that.
Jinghong.
Zhao Wuji's voice grew more authoritative. Gu Jinghong's heart sank to the bottom. He understood. This time it seems he was going to be abandoned. Chapter 53 Selfish and Cold-Hearted.
Senior brother, do you really have nothing to say?
Ye Danxia pressed urgently. She still had a bright future ahead, and absolutely could not bear such a stain on her name. Second senior brother did it, so he should take responsibility for the consequences. Gu Jinghong pressed his lips together tightly. Looking at Ye Danxia's pitiful state, he couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy. Fine. His little junior sister was still so young. This incident must have terrified her. Gu Jinghong took a step forward, just about to speak. But Ye Danxia, seeing him pause, assumed he was unwilling to confess. She couldn't wait any longer and blurted out.
This matter truly has nothing to do with me. It was second senior brother who said he wanted to teach Yunjing a lesson. I even tried to talk him out of it. But he wouldn't listen. Everything that happened today must have been because of something he did. I asked the master to investigate thoroughly.
Gu Jinghong, mouth already half open, slowly closed it again. He stared at Ye Danxia in a daze. The innocent, kind-hearted little junior sister. The soft, sweet girl. Looking at her now, eager to throw him under the bus. He felt a chill run down his spine. He was originally ready to confess. But the way Ye Danxia so urgently pushed him under the bus, it left a strange, bitter taste in his heart.
Jinghong, is this true?
Zhao Wuji turned to Gu Jinghong. Gu Jinghong's lips trembled slightly, and for a long time, he couldn't speak.
How interesting.
Lin Ya suddenly said with a cold laugh.
So, what you're saying is, this whole scheme was originally aimed at my disciple. And if something hadn't gone wrong, the person being accused of harboring evil aura right now would be my little disciple. Sect Master, is that what you mean?
A faint glint of cold light flickered in Ninya's eyes. This time, Xiaojin had been clever enough to dodge the trap. But if she wasn't able to, she probably wouldn't even get the chance to defend herself before being tortured and thrown into the abyss. Zhao Wuji said slowly.
I, myself, also don't know what the situation is. Jinghong, you should explain.
Gu Jinghong looked at his stern-faced master, then at the teary-eyed Ye Danxia, and calmly said,
It was me. After I returned, I heard Yunxin made little junior sister upset and caused eldest senior brother to be confined. I was blinded by rage and made a mistake.
What did you do to my spirit beasts?
Ling Fei looked at Gu Jinghong, his eyes stripped of all former warmth. Once, he had deeply valued Gu Jinghong's talent for beast taming, and treated him with kindness and care. He had no direct disciples of his own, yet he taught Gu Jinghong as though he were one. But now Ling Fei had finally realized. The one he had treated as a disciple had used the spirit beasts of the Beast Pavilion to orchestrate this entire setup. If Gu Jinghong didn't unexpectedly make a mistake, then today he would have been manipulated into wrongly accusing an innocent girl. Ling Fei was filled with rage at the thought. Gu Jinghong also understood. At this point, there was no way he could salvage his relationship with Ling Fei. He let out a bitter laugh and said,
It was beast-luring powder. Early this morning, I volunteered to help feed the spirit beasts. In truth, I mixed some of the powder into the food of the Qi refining and low-level foundation establishment beasts. I timed it so the effects would erupt during the entrance ceremony.
And then?
Ling Fei stared at him.
You must have done something else.
Just making the spirit beasts go berserk wouldn't be enough to frame anyone. Gu Jinghong didn't try to hide anything further and admitted.
I also sprinkled some of the powder on the direct disciple's robe. That robe was supposed to be worn by Yunqin, but for some reason, there was a mix-up and little junior sister ended up wearing it. That's the whole story. Little junior sister isn't the one with evil aura, it was all my doing.
Ling Fei's face darkened completely. He gritted his teeth.
Do you understand that beast-luring powder causes irreversible damage to spirit beasts?
Gu Jinghong fell silent. Having spent so much time at the Spirit Beast Pavilion, of course he knew that. Ling Fei was thoroughly disappointed.
You clearly knew, yet still used it to frame someone. And was even willing to harm the spirit beasts! I don't care how the sect punishes you. But from this moment on, Gu Jinghong, you are forbidden from ever setting foot in the Spirit Beast Pavilion again!
Ye Danxia, hearing Gu Jinghong confess, finally let out a sigh of relief. She quickly said,
Everyone heard that, right? I'm not the one with the evil aura. It was all my second senior brother's scheme.
She said it eagerly, and even with a hint of delight. But the crowd's gaze toward her began to shift. Everything was done by Gu Jinghong. But his motive was to stand up for her. And recalling how, when the spirit beasts charged at her, she stood firm without flinching, utterly confident. Everyone could understand that even if she didn't know Gu Jinghong's exact plan, she definitely suspected something. Back then, she thought Yunjing would be the one to suffer. Her expression looked quite pleased, didn't she? Did she think about exposing Gu Jinghong then? That seems unlikely. But now, with things having gone awry and the blame landing on her instead, she didn't hesitate for a second before throwing Gu Jinghong to the wolves. She looked like she wanted nothing more than to drag Gu Jinghong into the abyss, just to escape herself. Such a woman, selfish, cold-hearted, absolutely terrifying. Many present began to silently resolve themselves to keep their distance from Ye Danxia. Yunjing watched it all, her lips curling slightly. In her past life, Ye Danxia wasn't only doted on by her master and senior brothers. Everyone in the sect treated her like a little fairy, describing her with nothing but praise. But in this life, her facade was being peeled away layer by layer. Would anyone still call her a little fairy now? A sect darling? Heh. Don't even think about it. Ye Danxia's expression was so radiant with relief that even Zhao Wuji paused, a strange feeling rising in his chest. This little disciple of his. Ye Danxia sensed something was off and quickly tried to recover.
I
I didn't mean anything else. I just didn't approve of second senior brother's actions, and want to help him realize his mistake. But he did this all for me, so Densai begs the sect master to show leniency.
As she spoke, she started kowtowing again. Her reaction was fast, but her earlier behavior had already been seen by everyone. Now, not just outsiders, even Gu Jinghong's expression turned cold. Gu Jinghong said calmly.
Everything is my fault. I asked the sect master to punish me.
He knelt down steadily.
Sect master, how do you intend to handle this matter?
Lin Ya sneered.
I still don't understand what grave sin had my young disciple committed that you all insist on utterly destroying her. First it was Chen Hao, then Ruan Jun, and now Gu Jinghong. Luckily, Xiao Jing was blessed by the heavens, turning misfortune into fortune. Had this scheme succeeded, I trust everyone here understands the fate that would have befallen her. What Gu Jinghong did is no different than attempted murder. I'll leave the punishment to you, sect master.
Gu Jinghong knelt there in defeat. Zhao Wuji's face twisted with inner conflict. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. At that moment, Yunjin suddenly spoke up.
Senior brother Wu tried to frame me, I'm the victim. May I say a few words regarding the punishment?